I could have sworn that one had music last time I used it, but it seems I just don't have a grasp of my own graphics at this point.
I think the silence was a beautiful melody. You know what I mean?
It's the silence was. It's still waters run deep.
You're gambling that the audience has something better stuck in their head anyway.
It's maybe they were humming the Andy Griffith theme. Like I think that is if you have a song stuck in your head, just start.
That one just boots it.
Like exactly, but then you have the Andy Griffith theme stuck in your head.
It's tough.
So
it's tough.
It's like, but you know what? When is that unpleasant, man? Like I think that's a perfect song to just start whistling. Like you never feel bad when that's going through your head. Like
yeah,
that'd be my philosophy. Hello, science faithful, as you wander on in here during this not at all stressful week, this very slow news week during which nothing that's going to affect the pillars of democracy is happening.
That's why I'm here. Filler.
Yeah.
Slow news day.
Look, I'm filler. This is what I like. I'm here. We are here to not be Chuck Todd is what we are. Like we are the anti Chuck Todd. We're not gonna. We're here to be amusing now. Like I'm trying to not talk about COVID too much. Like which is kind of like if there's a question that comes up and someone's like, hey, here's a thing that was in the news, I'm answering it. But like we're just trying to make the news funny at the moment because it's all kind of fucked up and terrifying. So like here's where we are. And it's like last night I went through and crunched the numbers on it because everyone, as soon as the Supreme Court started making some decisions, once they became 6-3, everyone started panicking. And I'm like, all right, where are the numbers in the election? And it looks like no matter what, Joe Biden's likely going to win popular vote, likely going to win the Electoral College. But then it's like, what's going to happen? How low will the Trump administration stoop to try to undo that?
Well, it seems like I mean, if you're reading, certain articles, it seems like that's already in place. I think, I mean, we bring up two things, actually. One is like, there's definitely like a fundamental, disagreement. And a lot of people have like, hi, Jeff. A lot of people have this with other situations where two people are upset at something. And when you hear from both sides, they're not even close to having the same conversation, right?
No, like they're just talking straight past each other on this.
And so for people voting for Trump, there's such a thing of explain away every misspeak is not to be heard.
Yeah.
And then just let him do his thing. And I don't think Biden voters have that, right? We're not there to
yeah.
It's like I know, like I'm saying, like it is one I literally was teaching my kid this morning. My kid was like, he watched a Daniel Tiger episode on voting. And then Daniel Tiger didn't get what he voted for.
Quick interruption. Mom entered the chat. I can't go through an episode when Mom gets into chat where I can't announce my mother's presence. It's just
good.
I'm my mother's daughter. Though she raised me, so don't worry. You continue to whatever you were gonna say. It's my mom.
It's she should make quite an entrance. I agree.
There should be like choral bells or at least a triangle. Like I think I should get a triangle or a tambourine, something.
I think so.
There should be a Mom tambourine. Mom, I'm doing this for you from now on.
You should make it like Saturn's rings, but the rings have the jingles on them, like a Saturn tambourine.
Oh my God. Look, if someone out there can do this for me, if there's like a Saturn tambourine, I think Mom deserves a Saturn tambourine.
Yeah, I think
we all live in a Saturn tambourine. Yes. Look, Paul Mattingly, I'm coming for you.
So my kid says, I don't like voting because someone's always going to lose, and he's very empathetic. He's like, someone's going to lose.
That is so kind. Just explain to him that a bad person's going to lose.
Well, no, he's already. We have a Biden Harris sign wasn't enough for us. We taped gay pride flags to the corners of our Biden Harris sign on our front lawn. There was a gay marriage state constitution adjustment that had to be voted on. So even though Nevada legalized gay marriage and we performed gay marriages, the Constitution still had marriage as something between a man and a woman.
Wow.
So that's a weird thing we didn't clean up the first time we voted that through, I guess.
Jesus, that's unexpected.
It was unexpected, but I think it's going to come out fine in the vote. There was no big campaign to vote no or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a state where people are like, look, we're libertarian as fuck here, but let's talk about why gay marriage is bad. Like, doesn't seem like the place where that would be the issue.
No. So I said to my son, I was like, you're not voting for that person to cure everything. You're voting because you are going to still have to do a lot of other things. It's just, who do you want listening to you when you put in the effort? Aww. And that's what I was trying to explain to my child today, in which he kind of, I don't think it got through, but I have 11 more years before it matters. Yeah. You've got some time.
Yeah. When I met you, that child was incubating. Like, it's just, you were barely not a parent yet.
I know, and I'm such a dad now. I'm such an old dad now.
I had barely not met my husband yet, and now I'm a married old lady. Like, this is percolated through the course of our friendship. It's a good. We've turned. Look, I have gray hairs now. Look at us. Look, when we met, we thought Hillary Clinton might become president one day, and now democracy's over.
Oh boy!
I want one of my laughing into crying things to turn into a meme. I think one day, guys, just GIF me, please. That's all. That's all I beg for is laugh into cry to turn into a GIF. I think I can compete in the marketplace of GIFs. I think I could do it. But anyway, so like you're like I don't know your friggin' politics. Like, I know that you hang out with a lot of libertarians because I know you're humans, and like in previous elections, like I know Penn very publicly was telling people not to vote for Trump, and privately there was no love lost for Hillary Clinton.
No, yeah, it's really weird actually. I've never, one of the fun things about living in Las Vegas is it's such a small town of a city.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I really do kind of like, I lived in New York City, which is culturally, across the boards, the most of everything. And yet, I frequented improv comedy theaters and stuff like that. And we all were the same tax bracket, poor. And then,
feast or famine.
And so like when I used to get around Penn and other wealthy libertarians, I'm used to just kind of like, I want to take this in. I want to see the opposite or different conversation than what all my friends in LA are having or something like that,
Oh man.
It is so strange to see Donald Trump turn libertarians into Democrats. It is bizarre.
Like, I think we're both. Are you friends with Brandon Ellison?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Watching him like swallow his libertarianism and vote, but like he was like, I'll vote for Biden, but not if he choose. Like, Kamala is one of few that I won't. And then and it was because he was very against her prosecutorial record. And then like he's like, I can't not vote for, and he did. I'm like, wow. It's proud of you.
It's almost like everyone's dying to hit the reset button. Like we can't have the conversations we were having before Trump was president. And so it's like, if Biden goes in, then we can go back to arguing about the bullshit we were arguing before he was.
I miss the old bullshit. Like there's still bad stuff to work on. We're not in denial of that.
The Lincoln Project is if Biden wins, the Lincoln Project is going to be a bunch of people I don't like in a year.
Yes. Like, I can't wait. I cannot wait to go back to thinking George Conway's a piece of shit. Like, that'll be great. Like, I want the Conways to just be normal Republican pieces of shit. Not like I don't want, it's weird that George Conway and Joe fucking Tea Party Walsh are on my side.
It's bizarre.
I'm agreeing with Bill Kristol. Bill Kristol follows me on Twitter. These are not normal times. I don't understand what's going on here. What's this? Lou Dobbs told people to vote against Lindsey Graham the other day because horseshoe theory. Like, did you see that?
I did not see that. What's the horseshoe theory?
It was because it's more enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I get it. Yeah.
Because like Lindsey Graham did not go hard. Was just not going hard enough against. Like he was refusing to prosecute. A Democrat for something. Is the with the Justice Committee. Yeah, Lindsey Graham was basically refusing to do an illegal thing, and so that's why Lou Dobbs like, don't vote for him. It's like you're you're fine with getting him. Okay, we're on.
Well,
Sure, we can be on the same side.
Yeah, I mean that was the main point of a very prominent libertarian friend post today, and saying like he shows zero understanding of the Constitution.
Yeah.
So let's just start there, and he's saying this is going to hurt my taxes, but I want a president who at least has some understanding, even if they're like Obama wasn't the greatest constitutionalist, in terms of policies, but that he knew he was bending rules matters.
Yeah, it's like there's a difference.
When you're mad that you can't just sick the cops on whoever you want all the time.
Like there's a difference between bending rules and being like, well, and just yelling, Article 2 gives me all the rights to do anything I want. There are no rules. It's ultimate. Yeah. Like that's literally what he thinks. And when he's surrounded, like it terrifies me that we now know this is what someone can get away with, because I don't want a Democrat with this power either. I don't want anyone with this power. And I think there should be kind of a rule of how you approach politics, that you should never take power that you don't want your opponent to have. And the Republicans have done this all knowing that the Democrats are watching and are going, oh, this is what you can do, huh?
That's what bothers me tremendously. And it's hard to run, right? It's hard to be like, if elected, I will do less. I will flex less on these things.
Like, I'm like, I don't want the Democrats to, like, part of me is like, I want revenge. And part of me is like, oh God, what are they going to do now? This is where American politics are now, and what people know they can just get away with because there's precedents. Like the Supreme Court has said, yeah, you're allowed to do this.
Definitely. And I think like, if there has been an activism that I did not see in my 20s, right? I'm 42. So spent my 20s in the 90s, and then heading into 2000s. Like it was kind of like I would see things about the 60s and be like, wow, that's crazy time.
Yeah.
And I felt like I never saw an actual like activism like that before. And so I think what hopefully can be different than when Obama was president, where we were kind of like just really like, we're like, oh, a black guy's in office, I'm a good person.
Oh man, we had so much to learn.
Fell asleep at the wheel, and then wait, people took over everything. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that this idea that because people aren't voting for Biden as like a cure-all, that they know he's just the first step of actually maybe continuing efforts to make positive changes.
And I think the fact that we have kind of it's a moderate that hopefully is getting in after the dust settles. I think that's making people very attentive, and is making people go, no, we can't let up. We have to keep, sending, calling and emailing our senators to make sure this doesn't get dropped, because that's what happened last time.
Certainly. And also, like, I was guilty of like cynicism with the internet and everything. Like, sure, take to the streets when you didn't have a phone in your pocket or whatever. Like, do protests really work? One of the things that's crazy evident is that on every side of the issue, wow, do protests work?
Yeah,
protests against police
shocked.
Worked. Protests to not wear masks worked. Protests to open the economy worked. Like, when people go out the street, they may not get 100% victories, but they get things.
You know what I think it's because the only protests I'd seen happen in my lifetime that like went on for a long period of time were the Occupy Wall Street protests, and like those just didn't really go anywhere.
It felt so strange.
And it's like, I think part of it is that like they got no support from the mainstream media. Like, it's just Fox News was so good at saying they don't even know what they want. They're just banging drums. And here's the thing. That's all I remember about them. And I don't know for a fact now what they wanted, and I'm sure they were better organized than that, because that, like, I feel like the only thing I remember came out of the Fox News ecosystem. But at the same time, people, like, they use they leveraged what they had from the internet. They organized and they organized city to city and managed to make this protest so inconvenient that there wasn't enough change, but there was some change that happened. Like, they managed to make the police good and scared that there would be reforms that made it inconvenient to kill unarmed Black people. They managed to make them so scared that police violence would have to go away that they committed a violence or two.
Yeah.
Whew, that happened.
Yeah, I mean, and all that stuff is so difficult. And I think another thing is that like what you want is a sense of obligation from leadership,
Yeah.
from the top. And so I think a lot of these things wouldn't have gone as badly off the rails with actual leadership from the top.
I think about that, and I know I have a lot of libertarian friends who are all about Joe Jorgensen, who's the libertarian candidate, and I wonder, like, because all of her policies are like, nah, let the people do it themselves, and I'm like, what do they want for responsibility from a libertarian president when it comes to the pandemic? When you really need some central strategy on this, I just that baffles me, and I ask because I know you hang out with a lot of libertarians.
I do. I hear a lot less of that now
Wow.
than before. I mean, honestly, almost every libertarian I know out here in Vegas is voting for Biden.
This makes me so incredibly happy. Like we still have a lot of mutual like friends
Yeah,
that are in town, and it's just I'm just so happy about this. It makes me happy for the future.
exactly. Like we're looking forward to getting along through Thanksgiving and arguing by
Oh.
Christmas. That's what it feels like we'll be
It's
doing.
I'm so happy. I'm so proud of all these yes.
I mean,
Good.
I get it in the grand scheme of like the stewardship of democracy. I understand taking turns, right? I
Yeah. Yeah.
understand
Oh yeah.
shrinking it down and growing up. But when it becomes
Yeah.
like whoever wins is going to spend way too much no matter what, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
then I'm just voting on who's going to spend it on what. I'd like to get
Basically.
past that. I'd sure like to get past that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it feels, and it's here's something I've noticed over time is like Republicans run on I will spend less. Have they ever? Have they ever really?
I, it's a tough call. I mean, I think Reagan cut so much stuff that I think he did, cut so much government spending that I think that became a thing. I mean, there's all kinds of negative ramifications that came from some of those cuts, and I don't want
Mm,
to. I'm certainly
yeah,
no
it's
expert on the Reagan administration.
I'm not either. So you
Um,
could say a bunch of shit going. Actually, he did, and list off things that I'd be like,
yeah,
oh, and I'd just be like, I'm eating crow now. So just you could just sound smart at this at
yeah.
me.
I mean, like
But
one of the only thing, like if I were one of the things that gets it's the least sexiest platform would be like, hey, I think people who are qualified to hold their position should get that position and not put unqualified people in positions,
it's
regardless of political leanings. I
you
want
know what
qualified
I
people in
would run
charge.
on? I have two things I would run on. One is pot legalization because I feel like that would unify the libertarians who are just Republicans who want to smoke pot and at least the people on my side who that's how we've been portrayed to the Republicans. It's and I would run on a platform of ending daylight savings time. Look, people who that would I would at least get the easily annoyed vote. I would
That's
get the
true.
easily that's all I
That's
want.
true.
That's a good platform to start with. I don't know where to go from there though.
I
Those are
think
my only two things.
the marijuana legalization is still coming pretty hard and fast. It seems like
Yeah.
it seems like it doesn't take too many stumbles backwards.
It's like it is legal in between medical and recreational. It is legal in states where over half of the population lives now, which
Yeah.
is a pretty good place to be at this point. Like it was funny because I was having a conversation with Penn I think I was 31 or 32, and I said I think this will probably be it'll probably be legal by the time I'm 40. And he's like, you think, and he was like looking at me like, you think it'll take that long? Like, what's wrong? Because of course Penn knows everything. And I'm like, Penn, you don't know who's gonna get fucking elected. Like, and that's part of it. Like, the person who's right gets elected, and we're fine. We don't know if some idiot gets elected and fucks it all up.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm 37. We don't know.
So
Like
close.
it's like, and I mean, my point was it might just take till I'm 38 or 9, not, until I'm 34. And I think he just figured Democrat would win next. Oops.
Yeah. I mean, it still needs to be done on a federal level, which
Yeah.
is interesting. But I think what's interesting is the psyche of it, right? So like, especially it's been legal in Nevada. When I first would smell marijuana smoke in like the parking lots, of casinos or whatever, I would still be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Who's smoking pee? Who's smoking the weed?
Oh man.
And now you're like, oh, it's weed. Yeah, it's the
It's
same as
just Like when I moved to California, I realized it was a smell that just wafted everywhere. Like it was here and it was fine.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yeah. And so I'm curious about all that working out. I mean, I think it'll go. I think it will. I think I would hold on to your 40th birthday. I think you could hold on to that.
That finally I'll be able to smoke some of the reefer.
As a town known for odd makers, I think it's a fair place to. It's a fair spot. 3 years is a fair spot to put over under at.
Fingers crossed. So let's do it. I'm going to do a drastic change of subject. So you are an improv comic who started doing magic. Tell me about that, because this is like I haven't been around Vegas for a while. I have not. Tell me about this.
Well, I was very, very lucky enough to start writing a comedy writer for Penn and Teller, right?
Yeah.
I got on the radar during their last season of Bullshit, and then I interned on their Discovery Channel show, the short-lived Discovery Channel show, where I worked from like intern to paid writer. And then by the time Fools came around, I was pretty much in their good graces, and I was co-host of Penn's podcast. And so then I got to submit a writing packet and got hired for Fools, which is its own thing, because they were actually kind of being wishy-washy. Not Penn, but the producers are being wishy-washy about it. And then I got a phone call from the producer who was like, "Hey, here's a joke here," and it's like for Jonathan Ross, the British host, and it was about this. Ended in like a dentistry joke. Right. And ended up with a joke about there is no British word for dentist, and and he told me, he's like, write more jokes like that one that he just read to me. And I was confused. I go, okay. And I hung up the phone, and then the phone rang again. I answered it, and it was the producer again. He goes, "You wrote that joke?" I said, "Yes, I did." And he goes, "So I just told you to write more jokes like the one you wrote?" I said, "You did." And he goes, "See you on Monday." I go, "Okay, great."
Nice.
And so one of the jobs I have is I write for the host, and then I also have to help prep the interview that the host is going to do while Penn and Teller talk on the show Fool Us. If you haven't seen the show Fool Us, magicians try to come out and perform for Penn and Teller, and they do a magic trick, and then Penn and Teller try to talk amongst themselves and then try to figure out how it's done and talk to that person kind of in code to see if they got it.
It is a really good show, and watching the visceral anger from Penn sometimes when he can't figure it out is great.
Especially the early seasons, especially. Is super competitive. Yeah,
it's I still remember it's my favorite one, and I feel bad that I can't remember his name because it's been years since that episode. But the marker and smoke guy, like it's just like his it's and Penn just yelling, I don't even know how you got rid of the marker. It's just perfect episode. But let's see.
Does Penn actually have a fireman's brass pole at his house? He used to. He moved houses. He used to.
I went to the Slammer once for movie night before the Slammer was closed.
Oh, really? You only once?
It was just I'm never in Vegas on weeknights, or at least at that point, was never in Vegas on movie nights. The one time I was there, Christmas right before Cybabe turned into a full-time thing, and I was staying with the Kellys, and they're like, movie night, let's go. So it was a good time. I think I fell asleep watching episodes of what was the 24. That's apparently the go-to.
It is, yeah. So. If there's 24 to be watched, we'll be watching 24. Nice. Currently we're watching The Blacklist. Delightfully terrible. But so I'm working on that show. I'm interviewing all these magicians, and around season 4 I mouthed off to Penn, like, all these magicians, and I've gotten gigs, had little blips here and there, almost had big breaks. Like my friends got big breaks from New York, never really happened. And all of a sudden I said, mouthing off to Penn, these magicians, I mean, all of them like find a way to like make a living. Like there's no levels in comedy like this where you can just make money doing. I should just learn 4 tricks and do magic.
It seems to be the case. Like just figure out how to do a couple of card forces and a couple of sleight of hand things, and like tell a joke along with it. You can make money doing exactly what you just described, and you can. And it's kind of like in stand up they say like develop your 5 minutes, develop 10 minutes, that kind of thing. You can do that, but it's very hard to make any kind of money with those 5-10 minutes. It's just difficult, and so. But that is the way to do it properly. And so Penn just called my bluff right on the spot. He goes, you should. Why don't you learn a trick? And he goes, it'd be harder than you think it is, but I bet you'd be better at it than you think it is. And then he spent the rest of the season, we always meet in between tapings and have lunch in his monkey room. Oh my God.
And he spent the whole season just brainstorming different things for me to try.
That is so cool.
And then after the scene was over, my dad came to visit and sat in the taping, and Penn invited us back to his place for lunch. And then Penn started giving me advice on how to even just go about learning magic. And we left, and my dad said, "You just got basketball advice from Michael Jordan. You better take it."
Yeah. Basically, like if you don't like, I didn't realize like Penn, like you learned at Penn's knee. Like Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
if you don't like transition into like magician from here, like what are you doing with your life?
Well, exactly it. And so the idea that I would move to LA and try to like start, getting roles as, buddies and guy next door and bartender, and leave that advice behind was kind of silly. And so I still work on Fool Us. And then what I did to basically surprise Penn is I launched a crowdfunder where I went to every magician I knew to learn a magic trick. Because basically I had this weird thing where a show I was working on in Las Vegas, 50 Shades of the Parody, closed.
Oh,
and then I was going to help create this new show, which would become Opium over at Spiegel World. But I had a 5-month gap and 2 children between those 2 things. So I was like, I need to figure something out. And so I met all these crazy magicians and I hit it off with them. So I decided I would learn one trick from each magician I trusted. And then I would put a show together of those tricks.
Oh, wow.
And then people crowdfunded that, and that became that thing.
The Mind Noodler.
Yeah. And then here's the thing. So here's where it gets really stupid. Here's where it gets so dumb. Very dumb. I've struggled in comedy for a very long time. So I understand that now that I have semblance of a career in magic, that it seems really like entitled. I get it. I get how hard it was trying to make it in comedy. So I get how dumb this is. Piff the Magic Dragon. Piff was in the audience of one of those shows I did from the crowdfunder.
Oh man.
And then asked me to open for him on the road. And I toured with him for 2 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And Pip is incredible. Like both between his magic and whatchamacallit.
He's hilarious.
Holy crap.
He is a smart, funny guy. He's a smart, funny man in that dragon skin. And so and I still work with him now. So obviously there's no touring or anything like that, but he's relaunching his show over at the Flamingo under COVID protocols, and I'm part of the crew that helping pull that off.
Nice.
So it was been a crazy ride, and magic is a strange thing, but yeah, it's as weird, and it's a weirder world that I can get into, but why wouldn't I with the help I'm getting?
Right. It's somehow I just have to go to the chat for a moment. Somehow the chat has turned into a long conversation about glory holes.
Sure.
Now, I should probably fill you in on the backstory on this. So we were talking about safe sex in the age of COVID, and because I believe it started with Governor Cuomo, and there was also some sort of a press release from somewhere. I don't know if it was the government of Canada or one of the provincial governments, but like both Canada and the state of New York were like, hey, you want to not get COVID when you're banging? Glory hole. So glory holes are Canada approved. Oh, Canada, indeed. Like, so this, because I'm always trying to give people helpful hints for, staying safe in the age of COVID.
I feel like the scope of that is too small. Like, is there a line for the glory hole? And if so, are people standing 6 feet back from each other?
It's is there somebody taking tickets, and are they taking temperatures before you get in? Do you have to quarantine before the glory hole?
They have those stickers on the back of the board.
Is there a certain, can you only have is there a maximum of 10 people? Because it's no more gatherings above 50 people for the glory hole are banned.
I mean, if this caught on, it would be the weirdest silver lining from this whole ordeal. That would be a weird thing.
Oh man. Do you know that because we have our very strange little podcast, because we review the plot lines in porns because we have normal childhoods. For porn, they have to both get a COVID test and an STD test now.
Yeah.
To shoot. So
there's no doubt that whoever figured that out, that's what, there's all kinds of COVID protocols on sets now that had to be dictated by porn, because everything is. Yeah. All technology and set rules are pretty much dictated by the advancement of porn.
It's here's something interesting. One of the best protocols that's come out for how to manage COVID was from the roller derby, actually, and there are countries that are using their protocol for how to keep the league going. So I've read up on this. I need to, like, I can't go through and describe it all, but it was just, I was incredibly impressed to read how they'd managed something so that was relatively complex. They're like, here's our model for when we shut down, for when we have people not coming to practice, for when we have people practicing in small groups. It was like, damn, they helped out. So go roller derby. You figured out something that our very best brains can't do.
But it's been fascinating to watch people work it out, and I think we're going to see a lot more. The kind of innovation that the roller derby is doing, that the NBA did, and things like that. I was surprised I didn't see more of that earlier, but I think if this keeps going, we'll see weirder types of people agreeing to different types of bubbles and stuff.
I think, and my theory is, like, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. There's someone just commented, Saeed, put glitter on your Amazon wish list so the OCDs amongst us can be happy. I have an Amazon wish list, and I'll post it in here eventually. Look, if you guys want to send me Diet Coke over the course of this week, because I'm exhausted and like, number one, it's you guys have been sending. You guys have been paying me very well. I appreciate it very much. I wear glasses because my last contact lens ripped, and it's been a tight month.
Oh,
so
no.
I very much appreciate the contributions to my PayPal. Thank you so much. I'm bad at begging. Please and thank you, help me. But anyway,
I hear you.
It's just,
where do people donate? Where do people help you out?
At my linked in the description is my PayPal and my Patreon. Also over at Patreon, there is an extra patron only patron only stream every month. And so after, it's normally each
you are bad at this.
It's I'm bad at telling people, come give me money. Like, look,
Go to patreon.com/what?
Patreon.com/SciBabe.
Yeah.
It's link is in the description.
Just leave it there. They can read. You can
read
it out.
You can read. But anyways, and we are going to have a delightful, like, post-election chill out and decompress and get our feelings out after we're done there. So if y'all want that, it's only, and here's the best part, it's only $1 to join. It's a subscription. It's a pay what you can subscription, optional subscription fee to help keep a science communicator off the streets. And
what's the low tier?
It's only $1 for, and like, you can pay more if you want. Just $1 though. That's all I ask.
You got to raise that to $2.
No. I think that I think it is fine to ask people for just $1, because I think that is nice of them to give me $1. And if they want to
only make 65, I run a few Patreons. You only make like 65 cents off of that $1. And if you charge $2, it's the same fee. You make like $1.65 off of it. So from a percentage standpoint, you should charge $2.
This is an interesting point. I'm just saying, I worry that, like, I want to talk it over with my patrons first, but I also worry that
talk it over with them. But for most people,
like, I don't want to suddenly double
$2 and $1. They're not going to look at it from a percentage. They're going to look at it like it's $2. If anyone's willing to give you $1, they're willing to give you $2. I'll tell you that much right now. There. That's my speech.
That's your speech. Yeah. Oh, man. It's Charles Marshall said, SciBabe needs an agent. I have an agent for my speaking gigs. And guess what we're not doing right now?
I'll tell you what you can do. It's my last Patreon thing, and I'll leave you alone.
No, I appreciate it.
You can keep everyone who's at $1 alive and simply unpublish the option without eliminating it, and just start your new one at $2, and you won't kick anyone off.
And here's the thing: the average donation is, I think it's like, there are a ton of people who are there are a good handful of people who are donating, 5, 10, 20, 50. Like, and it's like, I've been surprised in only about 6 months of this at how quickly it's grown. So people are being kind in their donations.
Definitely. I think it's always interesting to find that stuff out. When Paul and I did the improv here in Vegas, we did a thing called the bucket show. So we did handling indoors. We do a full improv show and then leave buckets out.
Nice. I like that.
5s and 20s. It was
a lot.
Majority is like, the show was either worth $5 to people or $20 to people, but that was like what we kind of understood the rate to be. So if we charge $5, we're underselling ourselves. When we spend 20, we would eliminate like half our audience.
So some people.
So the bucket show was the way to go. The bucket was the good way to go.
That. It's like, some of you could afford 5, some of you have money. Please support a starving community. It's like, I just.
Wait, you still live in California?
I'm still in LA. I'm living.
$3. Three. Go to three. Go to three.
It's I live. No, oh, you would cry if you heard how much I'm paying in rent. It's So I live in an attic of an old Victorian that was that is in renovations, and because we're renovating it, we get to pay far less than is reasonable to live in downtown LA.
Yeah.
Like, however much you think I would be paying for 1,500 square feet in a Victorian in downtown LA, I'm probably paying half of that.
Okay.
Like, it's we're doing, because of that, we're doing okay. It's just
Right.
the main place that I wrote for completely shut down beginning of the pandemic. Like, I was getting paid per word there, and I just turned in a 5,000 word article beginning of the pandemic, and they're like, "Sorry, you know how we were going to pay you for this? We don't have a website anymore."
Oh.
So that's when I was like, now is exactly the time to start a Patreon. And the other thing is, I figured, because the main reason that I moved over to a fan-backed Patreon model was because I saw all the fake news coming out and all of the misinformation and disinformation coming out with the coronavirus. And I'm like, I need to get information out quickly. And at the time, I had an editor over at Self, which, I get paid fairly there. I don't want, please, Mrs. Auntie Saibe is not complaining about her pay, but I don't get paid as much or a living wage over there. So I wanted to find a way that and I had an editor who was very slow with, or very she was very careful with her editing, and it took a while to get things out, which is not okay in the age of COVID. I need information out quickly. So I'm like, all right, if I can get my fans to throw a little bit of money at me, I can get information to them quickly and be like, look, this information may change tomorrow. This is where we are today. Bear with me. Some of this news is going to be bad. Here's just the blatant truth about and like, it was hard to go through so much bad news calmly, and that's just what we did for a bunch of weeks. And they've been very kindly there for me.
Isn't this the thing about as a person of science? I think I remember teaching this workshop, and I used to come and I used to work with this group worked over at COD Cirque du Soleil, the ushers. I would do improv workshops with them every like 6 months or 8 months or whatever, and then one time I was teaching a workshop, and the managers would always give me things to key in on, or things to they'd lay down new policies with me, and we would all institute it together, that kind of thing. And I would do exercises to help them change their focus or whatever. And then someone at a meeting like threw up their arms. They're like, I don't get it. One time it was this, and then it was this, and now you're saying this. I don't understand. And I said, the only thing that makes what we're saying not make sense is if you don't believe in time. And everybody looked at me like, what? And I was like, if we said it before and now we're saying that's not the case and now it's this, and we're saying that's not the case and now it's this, if you believe in time, that all makes sense. You get rid of the old stuff and go with the new. That's what people do. And so what's driving me most crazy about these, like the science confusion on social media, which is like, only if you don't believe in time is it confusing.
That reminds me of a fun story, completely unrelated to this. So I lost some weight a couple of years ago, which was fun. I had old jeans that I couldn't fit into, and they were suddenly like, "Hey, you don't need to go jean shopping now. Congratulations, jean shopping sucks. Here we were waiting for you." Anyways,
better than sex. That feeling.
Oh God, yeah, well, depending on the sex, there's some. It's
better than sex with me. I'm terrible at it, but
it's.
Anytime a girl's like, "Come home with me," I was like, "Just try on jeans."
This is why I hire you. I was going somewhere with that, and I lost the point. God damn it! This happens all the time.
That's about believing in time, and then
So I posted like before after pictures. Now here's a thing that happens when you lose some weight and you've gained and lost. Sometimes you get more wrinkles, but also I was older than in my bigger pictures. And someone's like, "You look older now than when you were fatter." I'm like, time moves in one direction. What you see, I am older now than I was before. When someone shows you a picture of when they when someone shows you any picture of them and they go, "This is from when I was younger," you're like, no, you are not a time traveler. I could have sworn. Just wow. Oh man. So it's Russell Smith is begging join Patreon so that Cybabe will add another stream each month. I've promised my patrons I will add a second live stream once I hit $1,000 a month, and we are getting there. We're gaining more and more each month. And it's the other thing is over on Facebook, because this is streaming to Facebook, YouTube. We are streaming to all the different platforms. Over on Facebook, people are throwing in stars, which I very much appreciate. It's fun. It is fun to see them popping up over on the screen. And it's don't worry. There are multiple ways people are donating to all the different Cybabe things. So thank you guys. You're neat, and I dig you. And once COVID is over, I want to lick all the faces that consent enthusiastically to being licked, and vice versa. So once we're all vaccinated and like we have the magical bracelets and whatever we need to like wander around the world again, it's just the licks
tough
are
to
happening.
fit all that on a t-shirt, but I think you should give it a shot. COVID. I have the antibodies. Come lick me. Just we're gonna get weird. Oh man. Somebody just said if we go to $2, we'll do it. It's like I'll have a tete-a-tete in the fora with you guys. It's fun. Oh man, my mom just commented. My mom had the same conversation with her former mother-in-law about the weight loss. My mom had been bigger when she was younger, and her mother-in-law told her her former mother-in-law told her that she looked younger when she was 17 and a little heavier. Oh, Mom, apparently we're having the same things happen as we get older and thinner. Anyways, let's do. Someone said, "Come for the science, stay for the licking." So we're not guys. We're not at the hour mark yet. I'll bring Madigan to the not yet. He's not deep enough into the insanity. Come on. Yeah, I'm not ready. Ready.
We eventually lick the screen. It's a thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like one day we were discussing if you could get COVID from the computer. We're still trying, is what I'm saying. So one day if I get COVID, that way we can, just contact trace. Obviously.
Okay. Deal.
So we do that at the hour mark though, or at the very end of the. We're not there yet, guys. Just hold your horses. Someone's on hump day. We need more camels. You guys are very silly, very silly, very silly. Helen Kerr, the licks make no sense to me, but glad you're here. Look, they don't really make sense to me either. Okay, it's just I feel like it's just we've started doing it. People demand it. I'm here to give the people what they want. I can't stop it. It's just perpetual motion now. Somebody said that Matt licked his intern once. I don't know if that's true. Did you lick an intern?
It's true. Yeah.
I need the story. Is there a story?
Well, we famously only had 2 interns in the history of Ice Cream Social. Well, one of them has become actually just a huge friend of the show, but he went out and he got a tattoo. And I said on air, no one should get an Ice Cream Social tattoo, but if you do, I'll lick it. And so the last thing I expected was my buddy Ryer to get an Ice Cream Social tattoo. He got a pretty high up there too on the leg, but it was at Scoop Fest, so in front of like 200 people, I licked my friend's leg. And I never washed my tongue since.
I mean, you got to keep that around just in case.
Yeah.
It's maybe it wasn't someone licking a bat. Maybe it was you licking the tattoo that started this all.
I mean, the truth is we still don't know. So I shouldn't be crossed off the list of suspects.
Matt, it's you. It's you. Good. It's my one of my audience members said, "I feel for the people here for the first time. They thought they were coming for science, and they got us. Look, guys, I have a fun job while doing this of talking to my guests and trying to balance checking out what's happening over there. And half the time I can't tell if you're trying to horrify me or just conversating. And like I feel like whenever it gets to glory hole section of the night, it's just like let's see what we can get Cybabe to say. And like, I would say
if there's anybody out there who doesn't know me and hasn't listened to Ice Cream Social, you're not going to get that much of a shock reaction out of anything you type in the screen.
Yeah, it's like I have done some things in my life, is what I'm saying. Like you can't scare me. I've partied I've partied at the Armory in San Francisco. There's nothing you can say that will terrify me. Wait, do you know to what I refer when I say the Armory?
No.
All right. So the Armory is where they used to, I don't know if they still do, but the Armory is where they at least used to film for kink.com.
Ah.
Things happened one night. Look, there's a reason why I will never run for office. There are many reasons why I will never run for office. I'll drop it. Like if I were living in Nevada, where you can where you can be a literal, you could literally run a whorehouse and run for mayor. You can be a dead
run
man,
a whorehouse, die, and win an election in Nevada.
Yes, that is amazing.
That's a fact. That happened.
You can be a dead man running. You can be a dead pimp and win an election in Nevada. That's how cool is that? How horrifying is I don't know if that's cool or horrible.
I think it seemed to all work out. Nevada still seems to be okay.
It's still running. People are still going. People are still going into casinos and getting COVID. It's cool.
I just started going back to work at a casino, and it's a nightmare.
What's it like there with the COVIDs?
So masks are mandatory. I mean, our cases are up here like they are everywhere. We're one of the 29 states experiencing new highs. Our deaths are the same, pretty much.
Yeah.
They haven't gone up. But as someone who knows people who are nurses and things like that, it's not great. And then in casinos, masks are mandatory. And that was a surprise for the first month that it was mandatory. And now I think it seems to be settled in that masks are mandatory here. Because I still see the mask become the chin strap as people open mouth, breathe, and hit slot machines. So I'm still not. So I wear.
How are the smokers handling it?
So I have to do long rehearsals and things like that, fully masked. So the N95s will scratch up my nose or my chin a little bit. So what I do is I wear a cloth mask nice and tight on my face. Then I wear the N95 over that. And then I put goggles on to walk through the casino.
Oh, man.
And take the goggles off when I get in the rehearsal space.
I'm going to tell you something that's unfortunate. If you put a cloth mask underneath the N95, it's likely to it's likely to undo kind of that seal that the N95 has. But you're also, I believe you are a beardo. So
so I'm already done anyway, right?
But I mean,
I can reverse it. I'll do it.
It's here's the thing. If it's scratchy, look into see if you can find some materials that you can, I have a couple of KN95s here that might be less scratchy.
If you are telling me to commit, I'm not going to fight you on this at all. If you're telling me just to commit to the N95 and get over it from the nose perspective, I will.
It will be better for you. Just put some lanolin on at night. Go home and be nice to your to your nose.
In the actual rehearsal environment, we're all pretty committed and we're all getting tested. So I can switch to cloth inside the rehearsal, I believe, and I'd be okay.
Yeah, like when you're with people that you know and that are being conscientious, not the unwashed masses that are going into a casino during a.
I've actually been scared of what you just said and been saying it out loud on every podcast, waiting to be corrected. And so I'm actually happy you corrected me because I really want to be doing the safest thing. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm trying to keep people safe. I have been at times the asshole about. I'm trying it. I want people to do the right thing and not get the COVIDs.
We just did a season of Fool Us, and we did a production bubble. We were all bubbled up at the Rio.
Oh wow!
Quarantining ahead of time and then getting tests
impressive.
4 days out, 2 days out, and then upon arrival, and then every other day in it. We had about 100 people, 600 tests, all negative, and we successfully pulled off a production bubble over at the Rio.
Oh wow, that's work.
It is, and I think one of the strange things is when you're masked up and you see people, you absolutely are so happy to be seeing people again and talking to people,
yeah.
And then you can't stand talking for more than 5 minutes in a mask.
Yeah.
You have the most intense 2-minute conversations you can have.
Oh yeah. I just started taking my dog to the dog park again because look, I'm a writer living at home and these conversations are the most that it feels like I'm seeing new humans. So I get to the dog park and my dog is sniffing new butts and so am I. We both needed to get out clearly because that's just not okay. I'm going to get arrested if I keep sniffing butts. It's very strange.
Yeah.
They're like, is there something we need to tell? It's very weird. Just picturing a human dog park now.
Have you been home? Just home?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's like I'd been starting to record a series of us making fun of the show Goop, like going through and reviewing it and making it funny. And we'd only recorded one episode, and like we were like, should we publish this? Now we're gonna shelve it because we haven't recorded any others, and we're not gonna record anything during the pandemic. Oh shit, it's been 8 months. Somebody just asked, where's our nightly dose of Psydog? And Psydog is right back here. He's all tuckered out from his morning trip to the dog park. I shouldn't say that too much because those are two of very few words that he actually knows.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Doggy park. Oh, you know those words? Yes. Yes, he does. Very cute dog. Who's a very cute dog? You're a very cute dog. Anyways, but as we were saying, I apologize. I get distracted when someone.
That's fine.
That's so we were where were we before I so rudely interrupted myself?
You've been home.
Yes, home. So it's like there's not like I write. I can't really go to a coffee shop to write. There are no conferences for me to go to. So like the streaming has been great to interact with people more. I luckily have a lot of housemates. Like it's a commune that I live in, so I've got about 10 housemates on any given day. I mean that's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. Like I see people who live alone and that are just, suffering from loneliness. And that I've never been like when I first moved into the commune, I was like, my God, this is going to be awful living with this many people. I'm someone who could live alone and then just occasionally be around people, but not necessarily deal with humans. And that's enough for me. And then, and then this happened and I'm like, give me people. I need people. This is bad. But like having roommates has been just the saving grace of this whole thing. It's been much more tolerable to when I've got people around me regularly. What about, I mean, were you stuck at home for any significant time towards the beginning?
Yeah, well, I was laughing even what you were saying. It's like there's so many things I was like, all right, well, when the pandemic's over, I'll go back to doing blank. But in the meantime, and then all of a sudden, whatever. I think the strange thing is that the last season of Fool Us before this one had just finished, March 12th, right? And so like March 13th is when all of a sudden everyone's like, you should maybe go to the grocery store. And so I just finished a show where we worked with people from 22 countries. So I was kind of like, and then we were recording Ice Cream Social throughout that whole deal, and we have our own studio. And so I was kind of like, and they were working on the strip around everyone there, right? So we kind of were like, hey, we're in for a penny, in for a pound right now, right? And so we all keep getting tested, and we all kind of buckle into our bubbles and try to lock it down. But because of that, I've been able to. And then the fun part was that because we were podcasting, we were media, so we're the only tenants in our building during the lockdown. So we were allowed to go into our studio, and we could feel good about that because there was no one else coming to our building. So we stayed live, and that was a huge help because it really helped you differentiate time. Like,
oh my God,
we got together once or twice a week, and that really helped not make everything Groundhog Day.
It's just not like I have the number of weeks that have just blurred into each other. Like I feel like it's Monday and all of a sudden I'm like, how is it Friday now? Like and this has never happened to me before in my writing at home. Like, and I'm sure there have been months where I haven't gone out much but like, here's how I know that it's very different this time. I have filled up my gas tank once since March.
Oh my gosh.
Once. And I mean, I don't know if it was a total fill. I spent $29 of gas once, and I've only gone through half that tank now.
Yeah.
I mean, that means I've driven maybe 500 miles since March. I used to drive 1,000 miles, I think a week, almost 1,000 miles a week. That I had a crazy commute. So this is just, it's weird. It's it's so strange to just be here all the time. Like it's been a very huge change of lifestyle. So like I said, like this is a little bit much of one place, even for a homebody.
Do you feel yourself like baby stepping back towards, or do you think it would like slingshot you into like as soon as it's safe to go out? Do you think you'll be just like gone?
As soon as because I participated in the Johnson and Johnson vaccine trial, and next week, I believe either a day or two after the election, I have to go to Anaheim and get. They run the clinical trials down in Anaheim. I don't know. I think they're doing an antibody
Was that the one
test
that
on
got
me.
halted?
Yeah, but they determined that the person had a stroke. And here's the thing, kind of like we know with all vaccines, somebody can, it's as was brilliantly demonstrated in the episode of Penn and Teller, somebody can, on vaccines, something can happen. You can get a vaccine and something can just kind of happen afterwards, and the two cannot be related. And the person just happened to have a stroke during the couple of days after having the vaccine, and unrelated. But my arm was a little sore, but there was no injection sites. Well, I'm very sure I got the placebo, but who knows? They're like, yeah, about half of people don't even get injection site swelling. So I'm, it's 50.
Your gut says you got placebo.
Yeah, it's like if
most people in the early trials were experiencing some kind of at least ramification, right?
But here's the thing: most people in the early trial, because they were using higher doses in the early trial, because they were trying to figure out high dose, low dose, and they found that the people that got the lower doses, just as much as the people that got higher doses, they were getting sufficient quantities of antibodies when they were testing. So they were like, all right, we're getting more side effects and we don't really need to give that high of a dose. So they're trying to figure out, like, earlier trials are testing for safety and efficacy, or earliest stages of me
By the way, that was the first time you've had the confidence you had speaking about this. You should be in that mode when you ask people to go to your Patreon. You should be in that mode.
Please go to my Patreon. You guys, please go to my Patreon, because I've been doing this for a while and I really need the support, because I think I'm offering you an excellent service to help explain things like vaccine safety. So thank you very much. I appreciate the support. See, did that help?
$2. I'd pay $2 for that voice.
I hope you guys could pay me $2. I'm going to work on changing that, and I'm going to talk to you guys over on my Patreon page about it. Thank you so much. Anyways, on vaccine. Where are we on?
Are there steps for you after this next visit?
So next visit, basically I have to go so they are aiming to get. It's a very strange way to phrase it, but they're looking, because it's 30,000 and 30. Oh, wait, back to phase one. So phase one, they're looking to for safety, right? They're looking to make sure that nobody gets hurt at whatever doses, and they're also looking to see if immunity is a thing they're getting out of it. So when they get to 30,000 people, what they're looking for is what happens to a bigger population, because they've gotten a small group of healthy people in a lower at a lower age that are less likely to have major reactions. So then they expand it out in age, but still in good health. Then they expand it out to health problems and to all ages, and make sure that they get a variety of ethnicities and backgrounds to come into it. So, like, at this point, I believe I have a friend who's working on a couple different trials, and he said, yeah, right now we really need Black people and Southeast Asians. And like, it was interesting how he was saying, yeah, we need these different groups because we need everyone. And this was not surprising, but I was like, I didn't realize, like, it's because of things like the Tuskegee experiment and other things that we did that were bad. It's hard to get people it's hard to get Black people to sign up for it. And I'm like, I don't fucking blame them.
Exactly.
Who can blame someone after the awful things that we've done?
Besides all the things you just mentioned.
Yeah. So 30,000 people get the placebo, 30,000 get the real vaccine. And after, after a certain number of months, like this trial goes on for 2 years is the crazy part.
Someone just said I was really enjoying this microphone.
Oh, it's, are you having some time with it?
I am.
You're loving that mic?
Yeah. This might not make it through the rest of the show.
It might go limp after a little while. Someone said, how do I bump my Patreon membership to $2? You can go in and alter your monthly pledge. It's a thing you can do right on the Patreon page. So I appreciate that. You guys are fantastic.
You can do special tiers, so they can adjust up to a tier for 1 month and go right back down to the tier they're comfortable with for the rest of the time. You can do a holiday incentive.
Maddie D, I have so many notifications from people changing their Patreon play. God damn it, Maddie. You're so wonderful. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Like, like I said, Mama needs contact lenses. It's been a tight month. So
Sorry,
anyway,
someone told me to lick the microphone.
we're actually we're also at the hour mark, which means it's time for a screen lick. If you'd like to join me up to the screen. Oh, this is happening. It's I think it's that was a wet one.
Oh, my computer just started coughing. This is bad.
It's mine's got a stomach ache, so you know the different symptoms for it's mine's a PC. I'm guessing you've got a Mac.
I do.
So PC gets a stomach ache, Mac's coughing. There we know. Someone said
testosterone levels.
It's the girl computer is they say the boy computers are twice as likely to have a crash. So that's what's happening. So we do what we can here.
Yeah, totally.
Oh man, I'm looking over at trying to looking over at comments. But yeah, thank you for helping me promote my Patreon, and I will be more confident about it in the future. So
we for real, because I currently run 3. So
oh wow,
come Penn Sunday School just launched one, since there's no Penn and Teller show subsidizing.
I never even thought about that. Like are they just at the moment not like there's no income coming in from the show? Like how does that work?
It's like even for the Richies, 7 months of no work is still a weird it's a weird thing.
I mean, I know how much he's worth, and it's substantial, but like 7 months of not working is just.
And it's also 2 people going crazy. Like those guys never want to take a day off.
Yeah, like Penn when he's on vacation just writes. Like that's his version of time off.
Writes a book.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I have time off. I'll write another book. So they're not exactly time off humans. We're gonna go do something now.
Yeah,
people. They're like, I don't think they're ever gonna retire. They're gonna be like, no, I can still move my hand to not show you this card.
They will do whatever they can.
Teller will get a hand transplant so he can still like if they stop working enough, he'll be like, nope, getting new ones. He's amazing.
It's the truth. The truth. Yeah. So but so that one I have a Magicians Only podcast.
Wow.
And then I run Ice Cream Social.
I'm gonna tune into the Magicians podcast. I dig magic quite a bit for someone who doesn't do it at all.
Well, that's exactly what I have. Half magicians and half people who just followed my journey into magic, and then I have and I do behind the scenes of every Fool Us episode, so people can just watch one on YouTube, and then I give little tidbits and breakdowns with co-hosts on magic performances. People
are asking for a Mrs. Shapiro moment, guys. This isn't a dry podcast though. This is a very wet one. Very wet. Unlike Mrs. Shapiro's vagina. Just saying.
Super dry.
Sorry. We're never.
I am coming to you from the desert. So am I helping?
It's but I'm just saying Vegas occasionally at least gets rain. Sorry. We will stop making these jokes. Look, facts don't care about Ben's feelings, and we will stop making these jokes when we have proof. That's what science is. We have proof that he's given that woman an orgasm. We need to look. That's my new charity, a Hitachi for Mrs. Shapiro.
Oh, he still has doctors come in and diagnose her with hysteria, and they dress like they're from the 1800s. And
my God.
That's the only way that woman gets one of those.
Oh God.
It's through medical reenactments from other centuries.
Oh my God. Like I'd say I feel bad for her, but she made her choices. Like it's like, she knew what she was getting into. She was getting a 5'3" loudmouth who doesn't know how to do anything other than fire hose people with questions. Like I think if she ever complained about not having an orgasm, he'd be like, well, what did I do wrong? Didn't you say anything about it? Why didn't you tell me you weren't getting off? Why didn't you say something earlier? I don't think you actually didn't get off. I don't think women can have orgasms. I think the female orgasm is a myth. Like, I think that's what Ben Shapiro would do if somebody ever actually complained. I hope you guys enjoyed that, by the way. You're welcome. So that's my impression of Ben Shapiro knowing that he's pleasured women. So I hope you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm sorry.
I hope you liked it.
It's.
Was it
I
good
hope
for
it was.
you?
Damn it! That was. I owe you a Coke.
Revenge.
It's anyway. So so fun story. You and I'd say met like we met when we were walking past each other at a casino, but we also kind of saw each other for the first time at Penn's rock and roll party.
Yes. Yeah.
Good times. And it's like it makes me. This is one of the things that makes me sad about Tam being gone. Is like the random memories of me. Like look
with the recent passing of Amazing Randy, a lot of those memories are popping up and
like I've been. That was one of the things I thought about. I'm like I wouldn't have met Maddie if it hadn't been for just all the things Tam, all of these things.
It really is true. And yeah, I mean, as I joked with a friend the other day, a group of people who love standing off to the side and tearing things down until we really understand them weren't meant to keep a really cool convention going for a long period of time. Just the personalities don't lend themselves to that kind of a thing. But it was really interesting for me. Like I said, I moved here as a New York City improv guy. And so a skeptic convention was like, what? And it really was the amazing meeting. It really was the $1 million challenge, Randy's $1 million challenge.
Oh man.
Someone attempting something paranormal. And if they could do it in test conditions, they would win $1 million. And that was the first thing I went to.
Oh man, it's like I don't think I ever got to see one of them live. I've seen like most of them on film, and it's amazing watching these people who like there's something poetic almost about these people who they wouldn't go into this if they didn't think they really were going to win that million.
Yeah. And I spoke to someone. I was like, was anyone like just a magician or a mentalist trying to rig it? And he was like, unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, it was just like people who believed in their heart they had supernatural powers.
Man, like I feel like Randy would like that better if someone was.
I agree.
Like he'd be like, they tried.
Yeah.
They put it in effort. Like I think my favorite one was somebody like there was one episode where I was like, oh, someone did it, and then it turned out to be an April Fool's joke.
Oh,
like I saw that one online. I'm like, what? They did? When did this happen? And then it was like April Fool's.
Damn it. That's mean.
Damn it. But I like that they were like, look, we got a sense of humor about how crazy this is.
Tell us a dirty joke. Is that for me or for you?
Let's do what type of like I feel like that's like asking someone who speaks another language to like say something to me in German. Like what do you want me to like? I need some warm up. Like twist my nipples a little bit. God, buy me a drink first. I need to get lathered up a little bit. Like, is that enough of a dirty joke for you? Like, I hope that works.
I'll tell one of my favorite dirty jokes. If you want.
Ooh. Yes, please do.
Milkman comes to the door and goes to drop the milk, and the door opens, and it's a housewife, married housewife there in her robe, and she kind of opens up a little bit and then waves him in. And he's like, well, it's cold outside. I can go inside. And so without saying a word, she just takes him right up to the bedroom, fucks the living shit out of him like he's never been fucked. Right? I
like where this is going.
And then as he's getting dressed again, she just walks over to the dresser, comes back and hands him $5. He goes, okay. And again, she takes his hand and brings him downstairs and sits him at the kitchen table, goes into the fridge, pulls out a piece of pie and gives him a delicious piece of pie. And he's eating the pie. And he says, I'm not sure I understand what's going on here. She goes, well, Christmas is coming up. And I asked my husband, what do we do about the milkman? And he said, fuck him, give him $5. And then she says, the pie was my idea.
That's fantastic. Oh my God. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm gonna borrow that. Just
it's not mine. It's not mine.
Okay, cool. It's a floater. It's one that's just kind of
it's my current go-to. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. So there is a joke on my Patreon. Look, I'm gonna guess most of the people here, most of you are on my Patreon, and those who aren't, look, you have a chance. You can still join this exclusive offer. I know you want to, but there is.
Oh, that was good salesmanship.
Oh yeah, you like that? I thought you'd like that. So there was a story, and look, this is a dirty joke / a personal story, and it's filthy. And I think we're getting close to the hour and a half mark, and that's about where we're going to wrap up. So I figure let's drop my dirtiest story, and it's going to shame a born again Christian at the same time.
Ooh, bonus.
Oh yeah. So I at one point I was on OkCupid because that's where you go when one night you're taking apart the pipes in your kitchen to try to get rid of something that's clogging it, and you're on your kitchen floor sweating, and there are things that smell ungodly in there, and you're like, why? I need a man within a half an hour of me that I can just call and say, I will blow you to come snake my fucking drain. Anyways, so I got on OkCupid and I started looking for men. Anyways, so one of the first guys that comes over, not to snake my drain, but he snake. Anyways, so like we're a 94% match, and I'm like, this is cool. And I was really honest on my questions, like, because I don't want a guy to come over and be like, oh, you're into the weird stuff. Where's my bye? Like, I want to make sure that we're on the same page on things. And so I'm honest about, the things that matter to me, and I throw them out there. And I'm honest about the fact that I have some sexual proclivities that I want you to be on the same page. Anyways, this guy shows up, and like one of the first things he says is, and guys, this is a lot of information for you, but we're all adults here. Send the kids to bed, please. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to send the kids out of the room, okay? You have 30 seconds. I'm going to... Okay, the kids are out of the room, right? Like you've just shoved them into a closet, whatever you got to do. Anyways, he asked if I could have a orgasm, okay? Like, yeah, that's a thing he asked me, all right? And
for the first one, huh?
That's what he asked me as soon, like, upon entering the apartment, practically. And I was still in my I was barely in my 30s. I was younger. And shockingly, his time, One Direction. Anyway, see, that's the callback. I was like, fuck it, sure, let me get a towel. And indeed, he could give one, and it was good. So then, that's like we hop right into this within. Look, I was single. I needed some things. I had recently taken apart the pipes in my kitchen. I had needs. Anyways, we get to the sex things, and we're right afterwards. He goes to but as we're cuddling, which is a thing that you do after the sex things. He goes to put his clothes back on right away because he's like, don't you ever feel guilty after sex? I'm like, no, I just had an orgasm. Why would I feel guilty? And he's like, and he reveals to me that he's a born again Christian who takes his faith very seriously.
But no, you don't, though.
What? So I'm like, all right, wait, I just had a fantastic orgasm. You have hands that are made of fucking gold, sir. We need to sit down and have a chat because I need to know if I can deal with one of these things to get the other thing. And he tells me that he doesn't think that born again Christian, that he doesn't think that atheists, and never mind just atheists, but anyone who is not a born again Christian can truly love because they don't have Jesus in their heart. So I was like, you can get the fuck out of my apartment, sir, you and your magical hands. So then he doesn't, a couple days go by and I'm not planning on calling this guy back again. I'm like, I will find people try. Yeah, I will find another man who can do this. But he calls in a couple days and leaves a voicemail. He's like, yeah, sorry, I didn't call for a few days. Things were busy. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was like, wait, and I never called him again. But I realized I should have, this was an opportunity to get revenge for any woman who has ever sex shamed. I should have kept him on the hook and just kept him coming back. Yeah. And every time, and just get the squirting orgasms, and then be like, "Look what you just did! Jesus was watching you, you bad boy! You bad boy! You get on your knees and pray. Jesus saw that. How could you do that again? You knew that was a sin." That would have been so much fun.
Should have been 2 days. Were you confessing yesterday? Were you telling the Lord about what happened?
So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that horrible story. It's just, the other thing that was interesting about that. So I had as I have skin issues from time to time, I had a zit on my chin, and he accused me of having a cold sore. And so he didn't want to kiss me, but he wanted to have sex without a condom because apparently he could visually inspect that area and know that I didn't have anything. We did not have sex without a condom, just to clarify. Okay. So there is your filthy story of my life pre-marriage.
That is that's interesting. And the pipes worked out okay?
The pipes worked out okay.
Okay, good.
It's a fun story though. After I met my husband on Facebook, we eventually figured out we both had OkCupid profiles. Went back to look, and my husband and I also had a 94% match on OkCupid.
Oh,
So,
that's good.
yeah, that worked out.
Good, good.
1 year on OkCupid was enough, though.
You don't swipe left or right on that app, or you do?
That one, you just go through and read people's profiles and get a zillion messages from men going, "Hey,
sup,
hey,
sup,
like,
hey."
guys, if I can, like, I don't know what, I never got a Tinder account because like Tinder was just starting around the time that I met my husband. And that just fucking worked out. Like, I got lucky. He met me through, look, I met him through SciBabe. That worked. I only had 5,000 followers when I met him. Worked out for me. So it's been good.
There are pickup classes where they try to teach you discover whether you are a hi, hey, what's up, or whatever. You figure out your entry line.
No,
but it's for interpersonal stuff, right? It's not meant for like online. So I always think that like you were a victim of like that translating to online stuff. You know what I mean?
Someone just asked, did your husband have a good match with the plumber? My husband is very handy. Like, as I said, we're fixing up the room. He's done all the electrical wiring for the room. He built our bedroom. Like, he is an organic chemist who also builds shit. So he's both sciencey and handy. It's very convenient.
Lovely.
So highly A++ highly recommend. Not that I'm saying you guys should take my husband, but A++ highly recommend men like this one.
I will totally date your husband. Thank you for suggesting it.
You could, if you guys want to go out on a date, it's after COVID though, just be safe.
Yeah, I understand.
You
does
seem like
basketball?
Unfortunately, no. He's not into sports.
I'm flexible. I can find an interest. We'll be good.
I think I see a bromance that could form. That'd be a good time. You guys can bro out. It'll be cool. Oh my. I like that people are making jokes about handy now. Oh man. I know there is a typo in the YouTube address. I get it. It should be a slash, but I'm just saying, smash it, you perverts. Smash it. just saying, from the stream all night, you guys have been I get it that it's election week. We're all extra punchy. Just you guys. Yeah. Anyways, what do you, other than, so I know you're working on, you said today like that you were working on Piff Show. What are you up to right now?
So I just do podcasts in that show right now.
Cool. It's like, I remember we all came to know Piff from him competing on Fool Us.
Yes, Fool Us, and then America's Got Talent. Yeah.
He's just kind of been a part of the crew ever since.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he's a hard worker, and so he got himself set up in Vegas pretty well.
Nice.
I'll tell you a funny story. He did America's Got Talent, and when Paul and I were once recruited to do America's Got Talent, my comedy partner from Ice Cream Social, Paul Mattingly, we go into sign up for our thing. We were invited, but we go to sign in, and who walks in behind us but Piff and Mr. Piffles.
Oh,
and so we're like, "Hey, buddy."
Mr. Piffles.
And he's like, "Hey guys." And so we both sign in, we go our separate ways, and then Paul and I go into the first room and we do this improvised song with our keyboard player, and it goes really well. And he goes, "I'm going to pass you the next room. The next room has 3 producers in it. Go for it, And so we go into the third room and it goes not as great. It just goes fine, but just we didn't knock the doors off. But they're like, hey, maybe, we'll be in touch, whatever. And I go like, hey, 2 levels up and we're still a maybe. And, we're having a pretty good day. And I said literally to Paul that to like buck him, like, we're having a pretty good day. And we open the door to exit the room and Piff walks by with, no lie, 4 cameras following his every move.
Oh, man.
And then I turned to Paul and said, some of us are having better days than others.
I have a not quite the same, but a similar-ish story. So there are times when I feel like I'm a little famous. And then there are times when I realize there are 7.7 billion people on the planet and approximately 7.7 don't give a shit about me. So there was one day flying to Florida. I had a business trip out there and to go give a talk. And unbeknownst to me, one Penn and one Teller also had a show in Orlando, Florida, and I'm getting on this plane, and so are Penn and Teller
neat.
from LA. So they're in first class. The in-flight Wi-Fi is down, and I just want I wanted to shoot a message to Penn and be like, hey, I'm back here, and like they're not going to let some jackass from coach walk up to first class and be like, no, I know him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he's like, you could have sent a note up. Like, I'm like, Penn, do you understand that you're famous? Like, there are times when he doesn't get it. And like, we're walking through the airport and I see people like stopping and staring as he goes by. And like, people go to give him a handshake. And I'm like, nobody knows who I am. I'm shocked. Like, it was at the AVNs this year, 5 people recognized me. And I was like, damn, that's really neat. And like only 5 people recognizing Penn for a whole weekend of walking around the casinos he'd need a disguise. Like, but like, yeah, those moments of being like,
you're also not 6'7", so you gotta
a
couple of things.
I have time.
I apologize.
I have time.
You were shorter when you were younger, right?
It's maybe.
I'm trying to make a call back to time.
I know. It's technically I was taller. Then I had then I got scoliosis.
Oh no.
We're not. I don't. Maybe I slouched at the last time I got height. I got heighted. I got measured.
I got heighted.
I
wish we did call it heighted.
We say weighed, so why don't we say heighted?
I agree.
I think that's or hide.
Yeah.
It's they say weight, so and we say weighed, so why not heighted? I'm just hide. I think it should be HEIGHED. I'm going with it. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Anyways, I know, guys, a lot of times I bring these out to the 2-hour mark, which is a lot of live streaming, but because I know Maddie has a place to be tonight, because it's just you're running around like crazy, and because I'm doing these every day until election night, when we're going from 4 p.m. Pacific until whenever either we know who wins or whenever shit hits the fan.
It's so weird to be so close to some very hard decisions.
So close, and yet so far. Anyways, please, as I keep reminding you, don't if you have a mail-in ballot that is still in your possession and you were planning on mailing it, please do not mail it. Please go to a voting drop box, an official voting drop box in your area. Go to your city's website to find that. If you have the option of bringing it to a city clerk and that is the correct option, please do that. Or if dropping your mail-in ballot at your polling location is an option, please do that. If you can vote in person and you feel safe doing that at your polling place, please go and do that. Just don't mail your fucking ballot and vote. And as always, I make my plea, bring a friend. Bring a friend with you to vote, preferably someone who's not going to vote for Trump. Anyways, I love you guys. I want you to be safe. Maddie, where can everyone find you on the socials?
My Noodler on Instagram, MINDNOODLER, my Noodler. And then I'm Sweet Matty D on Twitter. Sweet Matty D on Twitter. MATTYD. There. And or you can that's it. We can't find each other in real life. But if you come to Vegas and see the Piff show, I'm the guy dressed like a king. All right.
Nice. I like it. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You go out and be everyone. Be safe. I love you. I'll fucking see you tomorrow. And tomorrow night we have Mama Possum, which I'm really excited about. I asked her to bring lizards and possums and snakes and turkeys. Oh my! It'll be a good time. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.